Good afternoon. We are part of the executive management team here at Microsoft, and today we'd like to talk to you about a potential acquisition we believe will help Microsoft remain at the forefront in terms of global technology companies for years to come. Good afternoon. We are part of the executive management team here at Microsoft, and today we'd like to talk to you about a potential acquisition we believe will help Microsoft remain at the forefront in terms of global technology companies for years to come. Good afternoon. We are part of the executive management team here at Microsoft, and today we'd like to talk to you about a potential acquisition we believe will help Microsoft remain at the forefront in terms of global technology companies for years to come. Just to give you an idea of where this presentation is headed, here is an overview of what we will be covering today. First, we will start off by giving an in-depth explanation of why we believe FireEye is a suitable target to be acquired by Microsoft. Then we will assess where Microsoft finds itself as a company today. And in the following two sections, we will dig down deeper into who FireEye is as a company and what makes them such an attractive target. Then the feasibility of an acquisition will be discussed. After that, we will break down the valuation of FireEye and the consideration. Then we will explain our recommended course of action that we believe should be used to acquire FireEye. And in this section, we will also cover accounting issues that should be considered when acquiring FireEye Incorporated. And in closing, we will discuss the resulting synergies and how we will ensure that FireEye will accept our offer to be acquired by Microsoft. So why FireEye? In order for Microsoft to remain a leader in the tech industry, it must continue to grow and diversify. We believe that Microsoft can continue their recent upward trend by acquiring FireEye. FireEye is an enterprise cybersecurity company that provides not only products but also services that help protect against severe cyber threats, and whose mission is to relentlessly protect its customers from the impact and consequences of cyber attacks. One of the main reasons we believe Microsoft should acquire FireEye is the current economic environment and its dependency on technology. Because of this dependency, there is a growing need for technology and the data it produces to be protected from hackers and data breachers. To put this dependency into perspective, according to a recent CNBC article, venture capitalist firms invested $3.1 billion in nearly 300 cybersecurity startups in 2016 alone. In addition to protecting consumer data, has become a top priority in most companies' business models. If Microsoft is able to acquire FireEye, it will be in a good position to capitalize on the increased investment trend that pertains to the cybersecurity market. Another reason Microsoft should acquire FireEye is FireEye's rank amongst the top publicly traded cybersecurity firms. The cybersecurity sector is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and according to a recent Forbes article, FireEye ranks 6th on the list of a market cap of $3 billion. If Microsoft is able to acquire FireEye, the company will be in a good position to make the acquisition successful. In order for this acquisition to be worthwhile and profitable, it is important that we mention what will be acquired from FireEye and how this will attribute to the success of the acquisition. FireEye has a unique acquisition history of its own. It has acquired a privately held email company called the Email Laundry. Also, FireEye has acquired Eyesight, one of the world's leading providers of cybersecurity threat intelligence for global enterprises. And third, it has acquired Inbotas, a provider of security automation and orchestration technology. And lastly, And most recently, FireEye has acquired the company X15, which specializes in data management. In their own way, each of these acquired company brings something to the table that will help this acquisition succeed. For example, the email laundry's $6.4 million worth of goodwill attributable to the know-how of the workforce will help smooth communication between companies if FireEye is acquired. iSight's customer relationship, which was valued at $3.7 million, will help Microsoft retain the customer base it has acquiring from FireEye. Lastly, the $21.3 million of goodwill attributable to increased selling opportunities that FireEye acquired from Invitas will help Microsoft extend its cybersecurity offerings. Together with the acquired assets of FireEye, we believe this acquisition will prove to be successful and most worthwhile.
Based on the information provided in the slide above, Microsoft's current state seems to be very stable and clearly profitable. Microsoft's current state can be attributed to its continuing ability to respond to changing technologies, market demands, and business opportunities. Microsoft recently reported quarterly financial earnings that resulted in an all-time high stock share price since going public. A lot of this success is not only attributable to Microsoft's ability to respond to changing technologies, market demands, and business opportunities, but is also attributable to Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella. In fact, since Nadella became CEO, Microsoft stock has more than doubled. A lot of Microsoft's recent success is not based on Nadella's market strategy or the company's ability to increase revenue. Rather, the success is more attributable to the company culture that Nadella has created. Based on this information, it is safe to assume that the current state of Microsoft is very stable, putting the company in a good position to remain a leader in the tech industry.
So just some general background of FireEye as a company. They were founded in 2004. They are headquartered in California on the West Coast. They IPO'd just 4 years ago on the NASDAQ. They have 3,000 plus employees. The actual number hovers right under 4,000 as of right now. And they have 6,000 plus customers across 67 different countries. They also boast that they service 40% of the Forbes Global 2000. Getting into what they offer as a cyber threat protection company, they offer security solutions, Helix, which is a security operations platform. They also offer software that does threat analytics, threat intelligence, entire network security, specifically email security and managed defense. And then they also offer an entire security suite software. And while Microsoft already offers many cyber threat solutions that overlap with some of the security solutions that are offered by FireEye, the expertise of FireEye and the high quality of their existing products could help Microsoft gain market share and close any of the gaps that exist in quality or performance with Microsoft's current security solutions offerings. The main aspect of FireEye here that really excites us is their service line. This is because Microsoft does not currently offer any services related to cybersecurity besides their limited customer support they offer with their security solutions. So adding the services offered by FireEye could prove to be extremely, extremely valuable for Microsoft. Digging down a little bit deeper into their security services, the breach response services include entire support teams that are ready at a moment's notice to help investigate and mitigate any threats that are happening in real time. Incident response retainer services. These services help companies work on their own response times if and when they detect any cyber threats. And finally, rounding out the breach response service line are compromise assessment services, which help companies figure out what information was lost, what was damaged as a result of the cyber attack. Moving on to their security enhancement line of services. This would include training services, which are pretty self-explanatory. But within security enhancement, there's one particularly special branch of FireEye security that is very, very interesting that we thought was extremely cool, and it is called Threat Space. This service, FireEye goes on site to customers, to clients, and they simulate cyber threats for customers so they can practice responding to cyber threats without any of the real world consequences that come along with real life cyber threats. So there's no actual loss of data, anything like that. So we think that's a really, really unique and really valuable service offering that FireEye has. And then rounding out the security enhancement service line is deployment and integration services. This is basically just going on site to customers, making sure that any of the security solutions that they have are deployed correctly, and that all the security solutions they have are integrated with all of the apps and programs that they use in all sectors of their business. And then finally, as a holistic service, FireEye offers security transformation, which is basically where they build from the ground up a complete security program or a package of programs for companies that either don't want to do this themselves or don't have the capabilities to do themselves. So that's just a quick overview of FireEye as a company and what they have to offer, what makes them special, and what makes them stand out. Just a brief overview of FireEye and where they sit as a company. As you can see by the graph, FireEye's stock price has been increasing steadily and is hovering just under $19 a share here in recent weeks. I will get a little bit further into FireEye's current state when we cover the feasibility of an actual acquisition, but we just wanted to show you where they sit at in terms of per share price in recent weeks. Here we see a list of FireEye's majority shareholders. All of these companies listed: Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, JP Morgan Private Bank, and the Vanguard Group Incorporated. All of these are extremely reputable companies, which just furthers our belief that FireEye is an up-and-coming company, and it furthers our belief that this could prove to be an extremely valuable acquisition for Microsoft. So now getting into the feasibility of an actual acquisition. Right now, as of their 2017 10K, FireEye has a book value of $744.8 million. And then this other part on this slide, we do see a net loss in 2015, 2016, and 2017. And in an attempt to grow, FireEye has acquired several companies over the past few years, as we mentioned earlier. And this has contributed to the result of a net operating loss. This loss has decreased steadily over the past few years, which is a sign that this growth has been at least somewhat successful, and we believe it will continue to be successful. This recurring operating loss is also due to high sales and marketing costs, as well as extremely high R&D expenses that are incurred by FireEye on a year-to-year basis, and these problems could easily be fixed if FireEye were to be acquired by Microsoft, because their buying power and the resources that Microsoft has, being this tech giant that they are. We obviously can't ignore the negative numbers on the previous slide, but we do see those net operating losses as a way for Microsoft to ensure that their offer to acquire FireEye is accepted, because they can only keep booking a net operating loss for so long before investors start to get unhappy and that stock market price starts to go down. But when you simply look at the gross profit generated by FireEye's business, it is very profitable and would generate a good amount of revenue for Microsoft if you get rid of those high sales and R&D and marketing costs that just eat away at these numbers that you see on the screen. And we also believe this revenue would only be increased even more when you attach Microsoft's names to these amazing products and services that are already offered by FireEye. And this just makes it that much more of an attractive target to be acquired by Microsoft.
Microsoft's history of acquisitions includes quite a few other companies in the cybersecurity industry, such as Giant Anti-Spyware in 2004, whose platform was used to design Windows Defender, as well as a couple of other cybersecurity companies based out of Israel, and most recently a company called Hexadite in 2017. Therefore, we believe that Microsoft is more than capable of taking the acquisition of FireEye and integrating its services with the existing cybersecurity division, Microsoft Secure. Microsoft holds security as one of its top priorities, as evident through its use of the security development lifecycle. The acquisition of FireEye will add to Microsoft's knowledge base regarding cybersecurity. FireEye's largest asset on its balance sheet is goodwill, resulting from its various acquisitions over the past 3 years. According to the acquisition method, this goodwill is assigned a 0 value because it is not an identifiable asset. Doing so results in remaining identifiable assets of about $1.347 billion, less its liabilities of about $1.587 billion, leaving a net liability for FireEye of $239,845,000. Through our research, we have found a limited amount of public information regarding the acquisition of companies in the cybersecurity industry, as many of these companies are private. So, we decided to approach this challenge from a different angle. We used FireEye's history of goodwill paid for its acquisitions as our benchmark, considering that all the companies purchased were in the cybersecurity industry. On average, goodwill has represented 75% of the purchase price FireEye has paid for its acquisitions. We are recommending total consideration to be paid for FireEye in the amount of $719,535,000. This amount represents a 75% premium over the amount it would take to settle FireEye's existing net liability. Therefore, the consideration paid is $959,380,000, reduced by $239,845,000. This leaves Microsoft paying 75% more than what would be needed to settle the net liability. Half of the consideration will be paid in each of 2 years. Based on our method of payment, we are recommending that Microsoft enter into a step acquisition, split evenly between 2 years, in an effort to prevent dilution of Microsoft's cash on hand. The ending result is a 100% acquisition, with FireEye retaining its incorporation. We believe that FireEye's sales of cybersecurity services will perform best under the well-known brand name of Microsoft. Some of the related accounting issues surrounding this acquisition are intra-entity transactions, foreign exchange risk, and goodwill impairment. No intra-entity transactions will occur between Microsoft and FireEye, only a transfer of knowledge and expertise. FireEye states in their 2017 annual report that their sales are primarily within the U.S. However, a large portion of their operating expenses are denominated in foreign currency. Upon acquisition, Microsoft will need to perform foreign currency translations when they consolidate their financial statements. In addition, those expenses are subject to fluctuations due to changes in foreign currency rates. Microsoft must be aware of the foreign currency exchange risk exposure as it relates to FireEye's portion of operating expenses outside of the U.S. In order to comply with U.S. GAAP, goodwill associated with the acquisition must be checked annually for impairment. If an impairment occurs, the value of the goodwill must be adjusted per the books and the difference written off as a loss reported on the income statement. We believe that the combination of Microsoft and FireEye will have many resulting synergies, such as an increased number of network connections and an enhanced cybersecurity division. Microsoft will be able to remain relevant in the field of data privacy and place themselves at the forefront of protecting consumer data in the wake of many serious data breaches. In addition, this acquisition will increase peace of mind for Microsoft's existing customers by showing that they are committed to innovation and protecting their customers' data.
We believe that an offer of approximately $179 million from Microsoft to acquire FireEye will be approved for several different reasons. The first is our pricing model. The pricing model we used in computing our consideration to acquire FireEye is based off of the data found in their 10-K financial statements related to their prior acquisitions. By modeling our pricing model to one that is similar of FireEye's, we believe that this will help the approval of the acquisition. Second, Microsoft has acquired many companies over the course of its life that began in 1972, 208 companies to be exact. With such a lengthy acquisition history, there have certainly been some failures, but there has been more success. LinkedIn and Skype highlight this list. We believe that because of Microsoft's history of successful mergers, the acquisition of FireEye will be accepted. As previously mentioned, the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, has not only increased the profitability of Microsoft during his tenure, but completely transformed the company culture as well. We believe that the increased profitability and transformed company culture created by Nadella to be another reason why the acquisition of FireEye will be accepted. The final reason we believe this offer will be accepted relates to Microsoft's recent acquisition of Hexadite. Microsoft showed an increased interest in cybersecurity by acquiring the cybersecurity firm Hexadite in 2017. If Microsoft acquires FireEye, the company will be able to combine the cybersecurity knowledge from both companies to ensure that the success of Microsoft's cybersecurity sector continues. In conclusion, we believe that based on Microsoft's current state and continued growth, it should acquire FireEye in order to increase its presence in the cybersecurity market and establish a threshold in an industry worth billions of dollars. In addition, Microsoft should acquire FireEye in order to continue growing and diversifying its portfolio and the increased investment in the cybersecurity market. If the acquisition is approved, we believe that Microsoft will become a leader in the cybersecurity industry.